Estimated 25,000 people across Wales use legal aid each year to help them with legal advice or represent them in court. But a radical shake-up has been proposed. One of the most controversial changes is the introduction of competitive tendering for legal aid contracts. Already big national companies like the haulier Eddie Stobart has expressed an interest, and there are fears that small local firms just won't be able to compete here in Wales.
There are over 300 firms practicing in criminal law in Wales. Under these proposals, that figure will fall to at least 21 and possibly as low as 0. That will have a devastating impact on the economy. The legal profession in Wales contributes some £250 million a year.
The UK government says they've had to make difficult decisions to reform one of the most expensive systems in the world, but claim they've safeguarded legal aid to ensure lawyers are there for those who really need them. There have already been huge cuts in legal aid which came into force earlier this month. As a result, entire areas of civil law, including some family and medical negligence cases, are no longer eligible. Lawyers in Wales are warning that could have serious consequences, not just for the legal profession, but also for those who need financial help accessing justice. People like Grace, a mother of 3 who wants to remain anonymous. She needed help to fund her divorce and custody battle from an abusive husband. Under the new rules, lawyers say she wouldn't be eligible for legal aid.
I was very fearful of his actions, and I felt like I was being swallowed up by him. I didn't have a letter from my GP. I didn't have a letter from social services. He wasn't known by the police, as it were, and it would have been extremely hard for me to prove that I was abused.
Some law firms are predicting the changes already implemented will reduce the number of people who qualify for legal aid by 75%. Here in Wales, one barrister was so concerned that he tackled the Justice Minister Chris Grayling at last weekend's Conservative Party conference in Swansea.
I'd like Mr Grayling to tell the Welsh people how many job losses are likely to come about as the result of his law reforms that will devastate Wales, and where the reform doesn't even mention the Welsh language. Could Mr Grayling tend to that question?
Okay. There is no option. The alternative is the Labour way, which is to carry on spending the money the same way, pass on huge debts to our children, and leave our country in the kind of crisis that we're seeing in other parts of Europe. And I'm not prepared to do that.
Andrew Taylor is organising a meeting of barristers and solicitors in Cardiff tonight, where they'll be voting on possible walkouts and strike action to demonstrate their opposition to the controversial legal aid reforms.